walkthrough of the back gardens. I'll talk through a couple of my plans, future thinking for these back garden spaces. It's about the end of the season, gardening season 2024, end of November, so first frost is on the forecast. And right here you see a bunch of North Pole arborvitaes that I've grown from a quart size, so they're all still in pots. I'm planning on either planting them where they are now or maybe moving them down this way a bit more so that I have more of a mixed evergreen hedge going on. I've got a blue and gold cypress right there doing well, same thing, raised from a quart size, and it's grown up so far very nicely. I also have a bunch of rhododendrons back here, hydrangeas that I've planted, as well as a bunch of weeping cherries and some red buds right here in these two pots, so those also have to get into the ground. And that's something that I'm hoping to get to either sometime this winter, coming into the spring. We'll see how things go. I still have some decisions, which are always hard. Anna's magic balls down there waiting to be planted as well. Those I might get to sooner. And a threadleaf Japanese maple, as well as weeping Alaskan cedar, which is just so beautiful. I can't wait till this one grows up and gets really big. It gets about 15-20 feet tall, about 10 feet wide or so. Really, really pretty. I can't wait for that one to get bigger. And I'm still thinking about the Japanese maples, where I might put things. Again, decisions are always hard. So what I do is I tend to put things into pots and kind of place them around, see if I like them, see if they like that position, the sun they're getting, so on and so forth. The backyard is mostly a shaded type area. And these are all emerald green arborvitaes that I've put in, and I put them specifically because if you see behind the fence, the neighbors behind us have a full-on view of our whole backyard. So screening is definitely an important thing for me for privacy, and something that I'm really trying to work on for this whole backyard. And as far as this whole little back area, there's a bunch of heucheras in here, some lungwort pulmonaria, another Anna's magic balls dotted throughout as well. And my thoughts here, as well as some hydrangeas. So my thoughts for this back little fenced back area is I'm almost tempted to just like pull out all the plants and just kind of start with a refresh and put them all back in a little bit of a better spacing. One thing I found this spring is the lungworts really like this spot, and spacing needs to be spread out just a bit. And as you can see, I still have more plants ready for planting. Have some Bigfoot clearas ready to be planted. Those are a great evergreen screening plant. Some more heucherellas in some pots that need a home. And all this whole area still needs to be developed. I've got some primrose there that I bought actually in the spring, and again, didn't get a chance to get back here. This season I really concentrated on the front yard and didn't end up getting into the backyard for a lot of the things that I wanted to get done. But it's another day and new times and more chances to get things done. Here in the greenhouse, I've put all of what I'm probably going to winter over in here. I'm still leaving it open because I don't want it to get too hot in here. But for the most part, what you see in here will winter over for now. And then I'll start moving them out once it's time to move the seedlings in. So they'll spend a couple of months, just basically the harsher months in here. Most of the things in here can take it, with the exception of the jasmine, the Confederate jasmine or star jasmine. I have 2 of these plants in the back that I'm gonna train up the back here. One's already going, one needs to be. And then over here, a bunch of hydrangeas that are still looking for their best place, as well as a bunch of camellia. These camellias are great evergreen screening plants that flower, but they are slower growers. Nice oak leaf hydrangea, ruby slippers that I'm hoping for a special spot for. Another rhododendron back there. More evergreen plants. So as time goes on, I'll find a spot for the majority of these. I do like to have a good little stock of plants to kind of pick through when I'm looking through for what I want to plant. And I just got these Mr. Bowling balls in their little pots off to the side of the raised bed garden space here. So that helps to bring some evergreen interest, which it was lacking. And of course, Mr. Gnome here. If you've noticed, he's my avatar, or whatever that's called, for my YouTube channel for the hidden gardens. And as we continue on, the raised beds are closed for the season, so to speak. The grapes are sleeping and the strawberries are just hanging. Back here we have the viburnum and the camellias that we just planted in a video not that long ago, which are doing really well. Hopefully we'll have some blooms coming around Christmas time for these. And for the raised bed garden, I'm going to be doing some changes, possibly not this season because it's a lot of changes, but at some point I'll definitely want to be taking out this back bed and moving the grapes into their own individual type spot, giving these camellias a little bit more room. The blueberries will kind of be moved into their own type container as well. As you can see, this post is for the grapes to be trained along, and I plan on training the grapes forward more. There's another post on the ground that I want to put in about right there where the beginning of this bed meets that other one. And the fountain needs some work. Lots of cutbacks to do for the spring. Over here in the dog area, things are going along really well. Fluffy arborvitae, Laura petalum that seems to have turned green. We'll see if the new growth comes out dark. It's supposed to be a darker plant, but I'm not sure if it's either getting enough sun, if it's shocked when I planted it. We'll see what happens. And then we've got a soft serve cypress that's put on quite a bit of growth since I've planted it. Another camellia over here. This one's the Alabama Beauty, and it is definitely a beauty. So more changes, possibly more of the small raised bed slots here. Camellia, October Magic Orchid on this side, as well as the other end of this long expansion, which are growing really nicely. I'm very, very pleased with their growth. My zone 7 garden, they're taking fairly well. This will be a good winter to see what happens. I've got a Leslie Ann camellia right here, which has been very, very pretty. Really, really white. Stayed white, came out white, staying white blooms. So that's really pretty. I'm liking this one. Some rosemary plants along with it. And a bunch of catmint. We've got the Blackhawks grass that's just planted and small, so we'll see how those fill in throughout the next season. And another, like I said, orchid. So coming back to the back area where the raised bed garden is, we have a bunch of blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, and all of these front pots, and I'm definitely going to change this up. I'm just not happy with it the whole summer. It was a bit of a challenge to get behind these pots, in front of these pots, and also watering. Watering was a big thing with these pots, so I'm going to be looking into drip for both the dog area where the camellias and catmint was, but also for wherever I decide to move the berry pots. And I definitely want to keep them in the pots because that way they're not taking over the yard and, coming up in places I don't want them to be. And for the raised bed garden space back here, I was finally able to clear it out. And as far as harvests, I got quite a bit of produce coming out of this area, even with the setbacks and the time that I wasn't able to get back here and kind of really pay attention to things. So I'm pretty pleased with that. My goal for this next gardening season is going to be making sure that I have places for the seeds that I start, as well as slowing down and taking more time to just kind of enjoy the process and not be overwhelmed by it. And that starts now. I have garlic to come in soon, and I'm just going to kind of take my time and enjoy things in this back garden space. And I hope that inspires you to enjoy your gardening journey. Please consider subscribing so that you can see how things turn out next season. And thanks for coming along on my gardening journey.